Right now, we are learning scope of variables. We have seen the global scope as well as the local scope and how it is affecting the values of variable between functions. Let's see a similar program and scope of certain variables. In fact, the same variable, which is a test variable we've been looking at, in a little bit of different or little bit of more complicated context. So we have another program here, very similar to the one we've been seeing so far. It has two functions, function 1 and function 2, and prints just like before. The main difference or the extra complication we have added here is the loops. So there is a for loop here. So let's look at function 1. So if you have any questions or doubts in these constructs, functions, function definition, etc., please feel free to refer to the previous presentations. Everything is explained. So this is the definition of function 1. So the definition goes from here to here, from line number 5 to line number 20. Most of it is different type of print statements, and we have a variable here, which is the test variable, and it is a local variable. So you can see it's a local variable. And then we have the for loop. I'm not explaining the print statements. I'll be ignoring the print statements. Anyway, we will see that when we run the program. Line number 10 is the most important or the main difference of this program from the previous one we were looking at. It has a for loop, and then inside the for loop we have another variable assignment here, and then inside that we have a if condition as well. So in this if condition, the bracket is not given. So let me put that bracket. You can do this as well in Python, but this is more universal syntax. So I'm giving the bracket just to avoid any kind of confusion. So we have the for loop, and inside the for loop, we have this if condition. Now inside the if condition, again, we are editing the variable, assigning a different value and printing it here, here, and here. So the idea is, in certain programming languages, the scope of certain variables are limited to a block. For example, here, if the variable is defined here, the scope is limited to this particular block. And because of that, lines like this will have issues. But fortunately or unfortunately in Python, that's not the case. Python has a common concept of local variable. So in Python, this whole thing is just one variable, which is this. Everywhere that variable is being reused inside the for loop as well as inside the if conditions. So it is exactly same as the ones we have seen before. There is no difference. The reason I have put this program here is because in certain programming languages, especially C, C++, this is not the case. They behave a little differently. But in Python, it's exactly same as the one we have seen before. Function 2, again, we have an if condition, and the variable definition is very much inside the if condition. So let me put the bracket here again. This syntax is also correct without the brackets. Normally, I always put the bracket. It's up to you. If you want to remove the bracket, Python allows that as well. So the variable definition or the variable creation is happening right inside the innermost condition, which is the if condition here, or innermost block. So this is a block of code, which is part of the if, which in turn part of this for loop, just like the one before we have seen. Long story short, in certain programming languages, in fact, a lot of them, this particular line will cause problem because you're creating the variable here. And this block is outside and the scope of the variable is not available here. But in Python, that's not the case. I wanted to show you that. So what we're going to do, we are going to execute the code, going to start debugging. So no surprise, it is printing 1000. We are going inside. That variable has scope. It is printed 1000 again. The scope is very well available inside the for loop. Inside the for loop, we are changing it to 2000, printing it again, going inside if is not executed. We are coming back to the for loop. This time I is 1, so if will be executed, and it is printing 2000, so the scope is still available, all good, and printing it, all good. So this is more or less exactly same as the previous program. There is no extra complication Python is adding with this for and if right here. So for you, nothing to be concerned as a Python programmer. Now we are going to the next function. All I'm doing is pressing F10 if you are wondering what is happening. So going inside the if loop, because the I is 0, all these things, if you have any confusion, feel free to refer to the previous video. Slide number 27. So that is where the variable is created, and this is a critical print. 29, it is working, definitely it's working. So that variable has scope here, and finally this particular print. So this 2 prints working is a critical thing because the variable has been created inside 27. So long story short, in summary, Python has 2 types of scope, at least what we have learned: global and local. And once local, irrespective where the definition is, it is available throughout the function, and global is available throughout the program. So right now we are outside the function, so the test variable is 10, which is the global variable. So we have discussed and show a couple of programs with scope. Again, as usual, play around with it. That is the best thing you can do to learn programming. Try your own changes to the program and make sure that you understand it. As always, put breakpoints. Never forget to put breakpoints. Now let's get back to the slides. As I mentioned before, we are coming back to this particular slide to review a couple of points with the variable scope. So a particular variable, especially if it is local, is not available across functions. So that is one thing we have learned. We have seen that variable which is local to a function. We have also seen global variables which are accessible everywhere with the right keyword, which is a global, we have used. So conceptually, this is exactly what we have discussed. Almost all the points we have discussed. It's very similar to certain things in our daily life, and we have seen such examples in the code.